you would read in the newspaper that he was out every night, all night, and to have the stamina that he had, it's pretty remarkable. He killed that you need a good night's sleep theory.
You have a little experience with that in there somewhere, don't you?
But I did try to get a good night's sleep every now and then.
You know, and Dennis went through these different phases as a player. I remember back in the Detroit days, pre-tats and all that stuff, and you knew him a little bit then?
I did. You know, in college, I used to always go up to the Pistons and work out with them and watch him. You know, this was before he turned into Dennis Rodman with the tats. But the thing that amazed me as a young player was watching a guy go through his practices, or sometimes after the game, and I go in the locker room with John, Sally, and Joe and Isaiah and talk, and he'd be on a treadmill or he'd be on a Stairmaster, and they say he would do an hour after a game.
You know, he wasn't the most skilled guy, but when you talk about the greatest athletes to ever play in the NBA, I think Dennis Rodman is in that category. When you think about the stamina, what you talked about, Charles, just the way he lived his life and to be able to play with that kind of energy night after night, the way he could run, especially early when he was with the Pistons and he would chase people down and guard every position. That guy could have been a world-class triple jumper or 400-meter sprinter. I mean, he was incredible.
And Shaq, this is a guy, too, who, I mean, you played with him a little bit in L.A., but playing against him, wasn't he? He's one of those irritating, get-under-your-skin kind of guys, right? Would it be fair to say, yeah, love having him on my team for what he does, but when you're playing against him, I'd rather not?
He was a great defender. He always moved his feet. The great thing about Dennis Rodman is he always did it his way. When I played with him, like, you know, you're supposed to be there an hour and a half before the game. He would come in with 45 on the clock, eating chicken and rice. And nobody would say anything because we knew that he was going to give us 20 to 25 rebounds at the game. And so, you know, he did it his way. He rode the treadmill after the game. And, you know, Steve was right. He was a phenomenal athlete. Phenomenal.
So he gave me my first job. I go up, he's like, you want to come up and camp? I'm like, yeah, thank you, Mr. Rodman, you know. I go up there, he pays me, he's working with all the kids, and then he plays with us for 3 hours after. Just plays with us. He wasn't shooting all that, running and doing all that, but he played with us, and he didn't have to. It was other Pistons, other people there, and, you know, seeing his work ethic, it really impressed me.
Dennis Rodman is the first guy that I've seen that made defense payable. Guys weren't getting paid for being defenders in the NBA. Guys weren't known and getting endorsements for being a defender in the NBA. He was such a great defender that he transcended what was normality. So, okay, you're a great guy, you could defend, and you're supposed to do that. That's part of basketball. But he did it so well that it became an endorsement.
Yeah. And he wanted to be different, and so he
was.
And he was, but he would purposely not score. I think Dennis took pride in those games where he had 0 points and 23 rebounds. Like, he used to pass up layups sometimes. And we loved playing with him because he'd get every rebound and he'd always throw it back out and you'd get open shots. But I think he purposely did not score sometimes just to be different.
He averaged 7 points in his career, did Dennis Rodman, with multiple rebounding titles.